Hey guys, I'm Tara. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about spiritual awakening, which I know can sound weird to some people, but I want to give you my perspective on it because I would say about a year ago, I was not a spiritual person at all. So I want to give you my perspective on spiritual awakening from a person who was really not spiritual. Let's just start by giving this term a basic definition. So firstly, so you know, a spiritual awakening is going to be different for everyone, but basically it's the start of your spiritual journey. So usually when you're experiencing a spiritual awakening, you start to see things through a different lens, you see the world differently, and you start to see the connections and everything in this world. So it's really like a shift in your view, so you start to see the world differently than how you have for your entire life. So I think to go on this journey that you do need to be ready and open. If you are closed off to it, it's going to be really difficult. And just like anything in life, you can't like force a spiritual awakening. It's just going to happen as it happens. So I'm going to go into some things that I've experienced personally over the past year that have gone on throughout my spiritual awakening. And then at the end of this video, I'll give you guys some tips on things you can do to try to tap into your spiritual side. So my journey started about a year ago, and if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you probably already know I'm a physical therapist, and then you might know that I specialize in pelvic health and pelvic floor issues. So the type of patients that I was seeing when I was treating were very, very chronic patients who had been dealing with issues for a really long time in the pelvic health world and just chronic pain in general. And I felt like yoga was a missing piece for a lot of them. And I would frequently tell my patients, I would recommend that they do yoga, but these people were dealing with a lot of pain and a lot of issues, and they were worried about just like going to a yoga class. I had no one to refer them to, and I would be like, oh, yeah, I mean, just try some restorative yoga at home, try a restorative yoga class, very general. So there was really nowhere for me to send these people. And at that point, then I decided, I was like, well, I really love yoga. I practice yoga. I want to do my yoga teacher training. I would say this is where my transformation really began. I think before that, I really practiced yoga for more physical benefits, flexibility, mobility, things like that. And I didn't really practice for the mental benefits for the most part. So during my teacher training is where it really clicked for me that I really needed to use my knowledge that I had as a physical therapist and this new knowledge I gained as a yoga teacher and kind of like bring it together and serve you guys in the best way that I can. So at the time, about a year ago, I was still dealing with a lot of mental health issues, which maybe I will share in more detail at some point. We're not going to do that in today's video, but really through my teacher training and then really practicing yoga in a much deeper way healed me so much from some of the mental health things that I was dealing with. So it's not to say there hasn't been up and downs, because there definitely has been over the past year. Like, I feel like I'm doing really well, and I feel like spiritually free, and I feel mentally free, and then, you know, another week, then all my old stuff like feels like it's starting to creep back in. But I think that's the journey, and I think that sometimes that's hard to accept because we just want to be better. But part of spiritual awakening isn't just like waking up one day and being free and spiritual and not having any issues. It's going to be a process, and things are going to come up that challenge us and really make us work on ourselves and work on our stuff. So it's not like all as glamorous as sometimes it sounds. So I'd say the biggest perspective change through this process for me has been really understanding and feeling like you are not your body, you are not your mind, you really are the soul, and the body and mind are like tools that we have to interact in this world. So that's really like our soul is just like living in this physical body. And I never really thought about things like that before, and for me, why that really helped was because I felt like I had no control over my mind and my thoughts, and changing my perspective to that makes me see that you do have control over your mind just as you have control over your body. Like I said, do some days my mind take over? Of course. But with practice, these things do get easier, and you start to realize that you really are like the observer of what's going on. So some other things that kind of came out of this spiritual awakening that are not as deep as that other example I gave you is that I really, really enjoy my alone time now. And I am a more introverted person, so I feel like I was kind of like that before, but like now it's on a different level. So I would say more the difference is now I realize how important alone time is to kind of like recharge and just like let go of the external world and just be in your internal world. I would also say that I have had a lot more synchronicities that happen in my life. I'm trying to like think of an example right now. Like an example that did happen to me was the other day we were going out for acai, and we hadn't had acai in a while, and I put on this jacket that I also hadn't worn in a while, and I put my hand in the pocket and I had literally a coupon to the acai place that we were going to in my pocket. So like those things kind of weird. And me and my sister, my youngest sister, also have like a lot of synchronicities that happen, but she's like a very energetic person and really in tune with her energy, so we kind of have those synchronicities happen, which is pretty cool. So I hope I'm explaining this well. It's kind of really hard to like put words to the experience, but I will say that people around me, like Scott, have noticed changes in me, so I feel like that also kind of shows you that it is a journey and you really do kind of change as a person. But anyway, so if you're wanting to go down a more spiritual path, I'll go over some things you can do to kind of facilitate that. So anything connecting with nature is a really, really great way to connect spiritually, because when you're out in nature, you really realize how small you are, and you also can start to see how everything is connected in this world. So that's a really great way. For me, gardening has been something that I've really enjoyed and started to enjoy over the past year. It's really beautiful to be able to see something grow and to help it grow. And it's also just a really great way to connect with the earth, which honestly for me before, I had never really gardened because I'm like a huge like bug phobic person. I mean, I'm still definitely bug phobic, but not as bad. But like gardening is like also like teaching me to kind of get over those fears as best I can. Or maybe gardening is teaching me not to let a fear of something hold me back from something else that I would want to do. As you can imagine from my story, yoga is a really great way to tap into your spirituality. And my free 7-day yoga experience can be really great for this. Basically, in the 7 days, you can kind of figure out what type of yoga really resonates with you and really helps you tap into your spiritual side. So I will put that in the description box down below. So guys, you know I preach this all the time, but meditation has been truly life-changing for me. I highly, highly, highly recommend you try it out if you are wanting to go down a more spiritual path, because when you meditate, you are closing yourself off from the external world and you're able to go inside and really connect spiritually to whatever that is for you, and it's really so amazing. It really does take practice, so don't get frustrated. I do have a video that goes over tips to help you meditate. I can link that below if you're interested in that. But it's really so amazing. And now I literally like sometimes I just like need a moment and I just like go sit and meditate and I like reset and recharge. So that's really a very important part, in my opinion, of going down a spiritual path or to have a spiritual awakening. And not that it's the only way or that you have to, but I do think it could be really, really helpful. Some other things you can do is to try to change your mindset and start to look for the beauty and good in everything instead of looking on the more negative side. That can kind of help you unlock your spirituality. And the last suggestion I have for you is to try to like get creative in whatever form that looks like for you. So I would say prior to a year ago, I felt like I had like really like no creativity, and probably because I was just holding myself back and in this like closed off space. And now I feel like my creativity is really able to flow into whatever that is, even if it's like just making a yoga flow for you guys or if I'm gardening. So there's many different outlets that you can have for your creativity, but that does really also help you along with your spiritual awakening. So guys, I hope all that made sense and answered some of your questions. Like I said, everyone's journey is different. So what I experience is going to be different from the next person. Everyone is on their own path. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button right below me. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.